And I'll unmute myself and welcome to the first episode of Iron Sights. And your cam is completely off the screen, MarkyB. I've completely messed it up straight away. Fantastic news. But yeah, welcome. This is going to be a weekly thing with me and Mark when the Pro League is on specifically and leading up to events as well. We're basically going to break it down. Each game, and we're going to bring you every single game that's coming up with the schedule, how the table's looking, our opinions on the teams, how it's going to go, just mainly from a European perspective. With us obviously being European, we are the budget Merc TB, if you like, but you know we'll try and do the best that we can. Mark, I'm excited to get this started. Actually, I know we've been discussing it for a little while, getting something started, and I'm going to let you delve into it straight away.
Well, obviously we've had, I guess, discussions about doing something like this for a little bit. Obviously we're going to be doing Talking Bollocks together, and that's going to be more sort of laid back and more just discussing the whole scene in general and like other topics, even like out with Call of Duty as a whole. But this is going to be CWL focused, just talking about the matches, obviously, like you've said before, talking about the matches coming up and giving our predictions, our insights. Obviously I still play and whatnot, so I scrim against a lot of these European teams on a daily basis, so I have that sort of insight as well as watching a lot of the other teams on streams, etc. So yeah, that's basically what this show's going to be.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure we'll manage it. Just having a little fiddle on with the settings while we get things going, because I do believe I've actually got some delays on things, stupidly. Classic me. There we go, and these all off. Just gonna try and get these solved. You know, you would have thought I would have done these ones first. There we go. There, that's so everything should be in sync now. Anyway, apologies about that, guys. Any other problems with the video and audio? Just let me know, guys. Teething problems, but we'll get things started. Right. So the first thing that we are going to break down is the teams in Division A. So I'm going to cut over to this image. I am actually going to completely fix your camera in a second as well. We're just going to move you in a little bit.
Fix me right up, mate.
Cut you down. You know what? You know what I did? I stupidly maximized Discord before when we had
it messed with all the.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and it messed with all the sizes. So I'm sorting you out there now. There we go.
All right, sweet.
Magical.
We're Gucci. Now I look beautiful. Look at me.
There we go. So
like
I mean,
the
first thing that we're going to discuss are the teams in Division A and where we think they're probably going to lie towards the end of the season with our opinions on the teams. And I'll let you kick it off, Mark.
Well, obviously, first of all, you got FaZe Clan, which is the most recent champions. Unexpectedly, though, I feel like that's something that is worth noted. They've not really, I guess, done that well throughout the rest of the tournaments of the year. They've had some decent results. They looked really good in their actual specific weeks on and leading into playoffs. Obviously, they came in with that actual first seed from their division anyway. So maybe they were just at home in Columbus, but like I said, they've not looked too great. So that's sort of where I stand in terms of how I think they're going to do. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to emulate their season one performances and win playoffs again. But I do think they're a solid squad. I do think, like I said, I do think they're a solid squad, obviously, and do have that ability to win. But I don't know if they are quite going to be able to hang with some of these new teams. I feel like the rosters that have obviously changed recently have sort of rounded off a lot more of these teams, which means it might be a bit more difficult for FaZe to get some of these victories. And that was against sort of obviously their season one victory was against these teams before they'd made the moves and whatnot. So I feel like a lot of teams have got stronger. FaZe have stayed the same, if not maybe mentally worse off, because a lot of the Zoom obviously has came out and said that he wanted to leave and whatnot. So I'm interested to see how FaZe do.
Okay, so then that actually moves us nicely on Team Caliber when we're talking about teams that have made some changes, and they have been one of the teams that have made some changes that they probably wouldn't have wanted to, and you know, there was rumors of Kenny leaving as well. I am a bit worried about Team Caliber this week in general, just to see how things get rolling. But I think that's a thing with Season 2 and with Roster Mania that's happened. This is the first time we're seeing a lot of these rosters play competitively against each other. So, I mean, everything that we say could be completely wrong. That's the thing. And I'm actually just covering our bases here as well, Mark. Team Caliber, though, for me, I'm a little bit worried about this team in this group personally. I think Enable's a decent enough addition, but losing Methods is bad. I feel like it's a pretty disjointed team.
Yeah, I think that Methods was obviously that sort of X Factor player for them.
Yeah.
And losing him top take is a massive loss. Enable, I've not really seen much of him. Not really heard anyone like gassing him up and saying he's the next big thing. And I've not heard many people say it's an unreal pickup. And from what I've heard from a lot of the teams that I'm friends with, the players, they're pretty happy that they've picked up Enable. Like that's the teams that are within that group, talking bollocks to the likes of Reese and etc. Rated, sorry, should I say? He was saying that he was pretty comfortable and pretty happy that they've picked up Enable. So I'm pretty sure a lot of teams that are going to be going up against TK see them as a weaker squad.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if Enable was their first choice or if they even want to be a team together. So who really knows? This is all just obviously us just going off of what we've heard. We don't really know how they've been playing. I've not really watched. Like Tilly said, we've not really had that opportunity. So it's just going off what our general vibe is about this team.
Yeah.
It feels a bit off.
Well, I've got good vibes about this next one, Red Reserve. I mean, you know what? At the same time as we've seen them in scrims playing very, very well against teams. I didn't catch the scrims against Optics. I don't really know how that one went. But, you know, realistically on paper, I expect this team to do very, very well. I wouldn't put it out of the question that they win this group, to be honest with you. And that is definitely probably some EU bias in this one. I don't know if you agree. But I think realistically, Red Reserve picking up scraps was an upgrade for me on Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in terms of kills, definitely a major upgrade. And I feel like they had a lot of they've lost the leadership characteristics of Josh, but I feel like that team had enough leaders anyway. So like, I don't really feel like that's a massive loss. For example, if Josh was in that old Epsilon team and they lost Josh, I feel like that would be like a catastrophic loss, right? Which obviously it's sort of turned out to be. But if you look at that Red Reserve team, they're full with leaders anyway. Reese is a leader at times, so is Joe, and even Trey. They all have their own inputs into the game and how it should be played, and they all make calls, etc. So I do think that in terms of a leader, I don't really feel like that's something that they've really lost out on majorly. They've got Scraps in, who's going to offer a lot more in terms of kills, and I feel like that was the sort of reason that they weren't able to hang on a more consistent basis. If you got Josh rolling and you got Joe rolling, and one of them could go like somewhat positive or even or whatever, they would consistently win games. But it's just like you're at the highest level, you're not always going to be able to do that. So it's they've got a more consistent Slayer. So I think it's an improvement for them.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes for them. Obviously, we'll discuss each and every single one of their games that they've got this week later on in the show. Team Envy. Now, this isn't a team that I feel, even for myself, have slipped under the radar a little bit. A strong squad who could definitely, I mean, it wouldn't be, again, out of the question. This is the beauty of Division A, is that there's so many teams that could genuinely win this group. That's the thing. Yeah. And these are one of the teams that could definitely potentially do it. Yeah,
I mean, they looked fantastic. Their first 4 games at Seattle, I'm pretty sure they won. They started off 4-0, looking fantastic, and then just lost 2 games back to back, and that's sort of where they've came under the radar, I guess. And not a lot of content came out from those guys post Atlanta. They obviously didn't make a change. You've not really seen any of them in scrims. I've not watched them at all, and I've been watching a lot of different American teams play. Not really had the opportunity to see them, so I'm really not sure if they've improved, got worse. Not really sure where they're at, but definitely, like we've seen from those first 4 matches at Seattle, they looked unreal. They looked quality, and they were oozing of confidence. So it depends what envy you get, really. I have no idea. They could be great, like you said. This group's, who knows who's going to win it, really.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about it. Now, moving on to Echo Fox, a team who had a pretty decent result. I say a decent result in Seattle. They looked good for a long while. Who did they get knocked up by again? Was it EG?
United, I believe.
United. I mean, either way, the Echo Fox are looking better. That's the thing. The addition of Temp has made them. I mean, there's always been that problem of roles throughout the year, but for them, but it just seems to have definitely worked out for them, and they look like a team that, with practice, could, do pretty much. They could do damage. The thing is, with them, they changed just before Seattle, so they've actually had time and practice together more so than other teams. They've played on land together, so that's definitely an advantage for me for them going into this week.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that talking to those players a lot at Seattle, they were very, very confident, and I believe they were actually knocked out by Rise. To be honest with you, I think I was wrong with the United prediction.
Yes, it was Rise. Actually, I casted it.
Yeah, they came through the losers, but obviously Rise made that crazy losers run.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. They lost to them. But talking to those players, very confident. I'm pretty sure they're really happy with their squad and how it how it feels, the different play styles and whatnot. I've heard that Vicento is now their flex player. So
yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they play. I think that I think this meta currently suits them. So they could also are another team that could win the group.
Splice. Now, I mean, for me, I think they came off the worst of the European teams in the changes. I mean, what do you think about the addition of Josh in there? You know, compared to Tommy, it's a completely different player. It's a completely different style. But we know Mad Cat and Josh have been together for years. They played together for years. We know Josh has been in this team before, sort of anyway. Obviously, it's slightly different. What do you see for them? Because I feel as if they potentially could have slipped under the radar. I know you had something to say on Splice anyway. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think that obviously Josh and Tommy are both leader figures.
Yeah.
They both have different characteristics though. Tommy prefers the more calm approach to the way he sort of leads his teams. Prefers to have calm comms and keeping things sort of not saying as much, I guess.
Yeah.
And comms aren't as intense. Josh definitely brings that energy in. He's going to be obviously calling out things 20 times, just stressing the importance. He's cut down a lot on that, but I mean, he does when it comes down to it, stressing the important stuff. He will repeat that and drill it in so that his teams are sort of very well aware of something that's very important on the map, like pushing a specific area or etc. I think that he's going to bring that energy. Obviously, he's been in the team before. He knows what they're about. I don't really feel like they've need a leader figure as such, because I feel like Judge sort of transformed into that over his years of competing. That Judge sort of learned into being more of a leader, being surrounded by a lot of these big figures. So I don't think they really needed that, like I said with the red team previously. But I do think that they're going to bring a lot more energy and obviously fire into these games. And Josh, they had a lot of issues with roles with Spice from what I've heard. From talking to the multiple players. So I think that Josh being a more natural SMG is also a bit more beneficial to this Splice team. So
how's that going to work? It's going to be Mad Cat, main AR, Bance, Flex, and then Josh and Judd, SMG.
Yeah, that's from what I've seen playing against them, the scrims and whatnot. You've got, like I said, Mad Cat, AR, Bance, Flex, who Bance actually is, I don't know why he's not been flexing for him before, because he's been looking really good as a flex player. I think that the sort of bar meta, having the bar, having the flex player using the bars really suits him. So I guess it's maybe sort of more to do with the meta that he's being the flex player than maybe talk about him doing it previously. But yeah, I think that this team has improved. I think this team's improved massively. So just from just playing them and just hearing their sort of team vibes and whatnot. So
okay, cool.
I think they've also improved.
Right, awesome. Now, the seventh team on our list, a team that just made it through relegation, but yet still finished second in Seattle, Evil Geniuses. You know, originally when I was looking at this group, I found myself, rotating and looking towards the top half of those top four teams, and maybe thinking about Equifox and Spice, but then I completely forgot about Evil Geniuses and how well they played in Seattle, and I think they probably went under a lot of people's radar after that, because I think it was something that nobody really expected. I mean, they came through winners as well, and I think they were unfortunate to go up against a Rise squad that just dominated everybody. And you know how those losers bracket runs can go, and how good Rise genuinely looked. Evil Geniuses again is another team who could definitely win this group. It's so tight. That's a thing. But I think they're another team like Echo Fox who changed before Seattle, so they've had that practice on land together as well.
Yeah, EG I feel like right now, if you look at the team on paper, you're not going to say like that's an unreal team.
Yeah.
But from playing them and just going off of what the current meta is as well, I feel like Assault has always been unreal with the bar. And I feel like that this current meta suits him, as well as Aches as well is a big fan of the bar. So they run a lot of double bar setups on like the smaller maps, like of St. Marie and London Docks.
Yeah.
they really enjoy that, and it allows their SMGs to have more freedom on the map, is because I guess those ARs are also playing a bit more objective based as well with the bar. You're going to see the top ARs also just jumping in hill. There's not really, I guess, more of a rotation rather than specific roles when that gun's a weapon. Obviously, you want to get the SMGs sort of being more aggressive and whatnot. So you've seen Aches and Assault. Assault had one of the best events I've seen of him, even though he's always been renowned to be a top-class Slayer. You've never really seen it as consistently, and it further on in the tournaments. Like last year, even in the CWL, I believe in that Cloud9 team, Assault had like the highest KD like near every event.
Yeah.
But that Cloud9 team weren't able to get far in tournaments. But you've seen that at Seattle, and he was still able to consistently slay. So I feel like the meta right now suits them. On paper, they're not the best team of players, but I feel like they've sort of complemented each other. So
yeah, it works. And again, on Assault, I think, you know, when the MVP is ultimately sort of half decided by the casters, and we always get asked nearer towards the end of the tournament, usually before the grand final, is like, say, right, who would be your MVP from this team, who would be from that team, and it was an absolute unanimous decision. If EG win, it's Assault, because he was frying in Seattle. And that was with barely any practice as well. So I think it's realistic to see Evil Geniuses towards the top of this one. But I mean, again, just overall, before we cover Epsilon, this group is stacked. They're literally like, okay, so the Group B is a bit more top heavy. Well, it's a lot more top heavy actually. But this one, across the board, I mean, realistically, 5 teams could finish first.
I feel like it's hard to predict this one. Realistically, you just have to look at the individual matchups. I feel like that's the easier thing to predict. But honestly, exactly, which we'll get to. But I really couldn't give you a confident this team is going to finish first. This team is going to finish. Like, I really couldn't. I feel like EG could win the group. EG could also come 5th. EG could play 7th. Like, do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones. I feel like there's so many good teams at a decent level that can cause upsets and beat each other. So it's really hard to predict.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for Epsilon, I think they're the only team that we're sort of looking at that we do think they're gonna finish bottom. I think it's hard for them because the rest of this, if you look towards the bottom half of Division B, I think if you put them up against some of those teams in there, then it's a bit more competitive. But going up against all these teams, I think they're really going to struggle against every single one.
Yeah, I feel
We've seen them beat EG in Season 1, but I mean, that was a completely different roster. There was other rosters in there that they did win against, but now I just don't see it happen. I don't see where any of their wins come from. And, you know, I love all the guys on that team as well, but with Reedy, they got a little bit better, but they haven't improved enough for me yet.
Yeah, I feel like if you look at all the matchups, if like you have Epsilon versus, well, they play Red Reserve and Envy this week, right?
Yeah.
Or even if they play anyone in this group, I'm not going to be like, I can't predict Epsilon to beat anyone in this group.
No,
that's the thing. I can though. I can see them getting a win, like from somewhere. They'll have a big game, but I feel like it's going to be a pretty miserable season for them unless something drastic happens. I know that they've not had the best of practice going in, from what I've heard. So
I mean, it couldn't be any worse to what they had before Season 1. You know what I mean? I mean, they were like blacklisted, so to speak, from some other teams. So they've got better practice than Season 1. They're going to be better than Season 1. But I feel like not only are they going to be better than Season 1, but their group is much harder than it was in Season 1. So I really can't see them get. I maybe see them pick up a couple of victories, but I really can't see them being as consistent enough to pick up loads of victories that they can make it into playoffs or anything like that. So I mean, you look at it like you see teams maybe like Echo Fox, Envy, maybe Splice that they can maybe nick a game off, but I don't see it. Well, maybe even Team Caliber as well. FaZe Clan, don't see it happening. Red Reserve, don't see it happening. EG, I don't see it happening. The others, maybe. There's like a 10% chance or something like that for me. But I mean, I don't want to come across as that I'm slating Epsilon, but as I said, they have improved, but it's a harder group. We expect them to be finishing at the bottom. Although saying that, it's not so much a relegation thing anymore. Obviously, there's no relegation in Season 2. It is just literally get yourself into playoffs. So they haven't so much got that weight of we could not be here next season. It's more of just a right, keep playing these games, practice as much as we can. We want to be trying to push for playoffs if we can. If we can't, practice for champs is what their main objective has to be.
Yeah, they've got nothing to lose, really.
No,
They're in
they've got
season
nothing
2
to
now.
lose.
Nothing to lose. They're expected to come bottom. They just got to like go in every game and just give it their all. And obviously they don't have anything to stress over. It's not like they're gonna lose. They've like you said, they've got nothing to stress over. Just enjoy the games, try and improve drastically, and go on and try and get some wins. That's all. They take it one game at a time. That's all they can do.
Okay, well, speaking of the games, here they are. This is the games today. So, first of all, it is going to be Red Reserve against Epsilon, Splice v TK after that, Evil Geniuses against Echofox third. Fourth is going to be Envious against FaZe Clan and Team Caliber against Echofox to close the night. First and foremost, I want to say a massive thank you to the guys at MLG. There was a post made on Reddit saying that everything is being brought forward by 2 hours so European viewers can catch as many of the games as possible. It's a big thing for me because I don't really have the gamer sleep schedule nailed down. I'm on a pretty normal pattern. And a lot of the games were going on at like 1 a.m. and your boys are like so tired trying to get up watching these games. I'm usually up at 6 or 7. So the fact that that's changed, I think, is massive props to MLG for making that adjustment for European fans. Anyway, moving into the games. Red Reserve against Epsilon. I mean, there's not really much to discuss for this game for me.
Yeah, I feel like Red have looked, from scrims in Europe in particular, have looked class. They've been smoking likes of my team, Unilad. I don't think they've played against Splice because obviously them two have pretty much never scrimmed against each other all year, which is another issue entirely. But Red looking fantastic. I feel like Epsilon, who knows what you're going to get from them. You can maybe see Epsilon grabbing it at S&D, maybe, because you feel like Red Reserve got slightly worse on S&D with the loss of Josh to Scraps. I'd definitely say that's a fair thing to say. So I'm going to probably predict like 3-1, 3-0 Red Reserve.
Yeah, I mean, we were discussing beforehand, and in future episodes of Iron Sights, we're going to try and actually offer some betting tips through some betting websites as well. And I think you were like considering throwing a 3-0 Red Reserve on. So I mean, that's completely fair. I think for Red Reserve, this is the first time we're going to see their roster in a competitive setting. It's the first time a lot of people will actually see the roster play. If you haven't caught scrims, there was a few streams, few and far between. From Rated and Scraps, but nothing really crazy that we got to see from them. So just sort of hearing that they have been looking good. Did you catch the scrims against Optic or not?
I caught some of the maps, and I'm pretty sure it was pretty Optic sided, to be honest with you. I didn't really get to see it completely, but I didn't really take too much away from scrims because there's so many factors, the likes of like hosts and whatnot. Specifically in America, because I feel like obviously within the UK we're all fairly close to each other. Scrims are more sort of accurate representation over here in comparison to America. But from what I've heard, it was a pretty Optic sided series, but that's the new Optic team, do you know what I mean? So
well, we'll see how they do. I don't think this is the real bar setter for them. We expect them to go in to beat Epsilon comfortably. If it's one of those games where Epsilon take a couple of maps off them and force game 5 and make it look a little bit close, then there's going to be questions straight away. I think, for me, they need a 3-0. I think they need to come in. You know, that team, when they've got confidence, are going to be very, very scary. I think if they go in 3-0, they're going to look good for the rest of the week. Splice TK. Yeah. Now, I think this is going to be a really good game. You know, TK, I think both teams have got a lot of question marks around them. Nobody really knows how both these teams are going to do in this league, so to speak. I mean, we know, obviously, the potential's there, but it's a case of these two new rosters. TK, obviously, a couple of changes over the past month, and one change for Splice, bringing Josh in instead of Tommy. It's a tough game for me to call, actually.
Yeah, I think that Splice have been looking decent, definitely the second best in Europe currently, and on paper you'd say. Obviously they want, from what I've heard, they want to get Scraps in their team, so I don't feel like they're at their peak in terms of how they could have been looking going into this week. But TK also, question marks on them, a lot of issues with their team, like I was saying before. Although I do feel like Splice do match up a lot better against TK than, for example, EG. So I feel like I'm quite comfortable that Splice are gonna win this series. I've actually got my prediction. I wrote down my predictions before this show, actually, just so I didn't really, because because when I sit there and think about all the different variables, I can change up a prediction. But I actually wrote down Splice 3-1 against TK here. I just feel like they're going to come in strong. They've got a lot to prove, and I feel that's the main reason that they're going to come in strong.
Okay. I believe you. I mean, in that Raw matchup, where do you think that they win it against TK? Because you were saying against EG, you don't fancy Splice as much, but going in against TK, you think the individual matchup suits Splice. Where does that lie mostly for you? In the ARs or?
Yeah, I feel like Mad Cat's a better AR than accuracy.
Okay.
I feel like he can sort of be more of an impact, drop bigger numbers, etc. And obviously, you've got Bance playing as flex. I feel like Bance is one of the best flexes in Europe. Not sure worldwide, but I know that he's up there, and the bar suits his play style. So, in terms of the AR and flex situation, I'm way more confident with the Splice squad than TK. So, SMGs, Kenny's pretty tough, to be honest with you. He's going to be hard to. If he has a big impact in a game, if he goes off a game, it's TK are going to win the map. I mean, there's more impact with an SMG going off. The current meta is very AR sided though, and I feel like Splice have better ARs than TKs, so that's why I'm going to favour Splice.
Okay, cool. We'll start moving through these a little bit quicker if we can. I'm conscious, guys, because I know everyone's going to watch Hot Mic, and we were going to try and get this finished before then, so everyone can tune in, myself included. Evil Geniuses against Echo Fox. Now, this is going to be another good game for me. For me, on paper, looking at it from the outside. Excuse me. Just coughed my gut out. Excuse me. Wow, okay. I think Evil Geniuses take this 3-1 or something like that. I think I'm just basically basing my predictions of Evil Geniuses off CL. I mean, how could you not predict them to win this game, I would say? Yeah,
I think that's a fair thing to do. EG also, I believe, beat them at Seattle, so they did. I'm 100% sure they did, because obviously Assault was in that Echo Fox team and was released. So yeah, I'm gonna have to obviously just go off Seattle and the current meta, and that EG are probably better on paper. So I'm gonna have to predict EG 3-1. I've got 3-1 EG.
Yeah, I think 3-1, maybe 3-2 is fair. I would see Echo Fox maybe taking a hard point or something off them, but I don't know. It's tough to call. It's really tough to call, but I think EG looking stronger. Envy against FaZe Clan. Now, I mean, realistically, you'd expect FaZe to win this, but Envy, again, we spoke about at the beginning, one of these teams who sort of slipped under the radar for some people, myself included. FaZe, though, I mean, I said that they could have had issues after the whole roster mania thing. We know that Zuma has said, expressed some interest in leaving. Do you think that's going to make any problems for this team? Because when I look at them from a mentality aspect, I would say that they're pretty strong. So you see Attach, you see Zuma, Priesta, and replays. You feel like they're pretty sound in their head guys. You know, there's no extreme personalities in that one. They're pretty level-headed. Hopefully they can get past that, and if they do, they should be fine throughout the season. Yeah,
I feel like they're, like you said, quite strong mentally. They went through a lot of disappointment, so and obviously with ended up being the champions of season 1, they overcame that. So definitely I think they're a strong mental team, so they can definitely overcome that. Envy also another team that have went through a lot of disappointment, different players being released from different teams, etc., all come together. I actually personally believe that Envy are going to win this series.
Okay.
I'm predicting Envy are going to win 3-1. Honestly, I have nothing to go off of this one. I've not seen anything from either of the teams. I have obviously only gone off Seattle, and the current meta, I believe that Envy are better, and that's pretty much what I'm judging the majority of predictions off. Currently, obviously, next week when we see how these matches pan out, we can obviously make different predictions, but it's really hard to just basically go off of anything bar the current meta and looking at the players, etc., without any sort of, we don't have any scrims to watch. So
would you base that on Chino against replays?
Yeah, I think Chino against replays, and I feel like that's just their AR flex situation in general. I feel like Envy are just probably slightly better. Although I'd like to say that I believe FaZe Priesta is one of the best flexes in America. So I don't know. I'm sort of sitting on the fence with this one, but I'm gonna predict Envy 3-1.
Okay, well, I'll go the opposite direction, then I'll say phase 3-2. We'll go 3-2.
Okay.
Pending maps, of course. TK Echo Fox. I think Echo Fox take this, I think it's pending. I think if TK beat Splice, then TK win this. But I think if they lose, heads in the bin. After all these roster changes that went on, there's going to be mistakes. I mean, we know accuracy can be negative, so to speak, as well. And if Echo Fox win their game, they're going to be in a high. It's one of those things that I would like to see what happens in those first two results before I can make a concrete prediction. However, based on my gut, I would say Echo Fox.
Yeah, I feel like it's, like you said, the first two games that these two teams play is going to be the sort of big deciding factor where their heads are at. TK, I feel like if they lose their first game, will be a bit more down than if Echo Fox lose their first game. I feel like TK obviously have had a lot of disappointment recently, and with everything going on, I feel like they'll break harder if they lose that first series compared to Echo Fox. I feel like Echo Fox will be a bit they're sort of able to brush it off and sort of continue on. So I'm just going to assume, because I actually predicted Echo Fox to lose, and I also predicted TK to lose. Yeah. So I'm just going to carry on that trend and just assume that they both lost, and then that means I'm going to predict Echo Fox to win that series 3-1. So obviously to get their first win. Okay, cool. So we'll keep a tally of these predictions throughout the season. And I think I'm just throwing this on you now. We'll keep a little leaderboard to see where we're at. So you went red, I went red. We both went Splice. We both went EG. I went FaZe, you went Envy, and we both went Echo Fox. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna try and remember that. I can always watch the VOD, which will be on YouTube and will be on EGL's YouTube. Slight plug there. There you go. Right. Anyway, Wednesday schedule: Envy against Epsilon, Evil Geniuses taking on Splice, Team Caliber against Red Reserve, Splice against Echo Fox, FaZe Clan against EG. First game again. I think we can skim over this one. Epsilon. Unless they somehow come out today and surprise us and beat Red first game, then for now I'm still predicting Team Envious to win this one. Yeah. Envy 3-1. I've got Envy beating FaZe. They're coming in after beating FaZe the next day, beating the Season 1 champions, and they're gonna 3-1 or 3-0 Epsilon. I'm gonna predict 3-1 actually, because I'm not entirely confident on Envy's S&D. Okay. So I'm gonna predict Epsilon to win the S&D, but Envy to win every respawn and win the series 3-1. Okay, fair enough. Evil Geniuses against Splice. Now, this is an interesting game, and again, and we've said it before throughout the show so far, it's hard to predict these based on... We don't really have anything to base these predictions on so far throughout the season, because obviously it's the start of Season 2, there's been so many roster changes. I'm going to lean towards EG on this based on, again, their Seattle performance. I think Assault against Markat's a big thing in this game to see how it goes and how well Apathy plays as well. And again, Splice is such an unknown entity for me, whereas Evil Geniuses, we've seen what they can do so far already, which seems to be pretty good stuff. I'm going to predict EG for this one. Yeah, I really generally don't know. I was right. I didn't actually write. I actually skipped this one when I was writing down my predictions. Who knows? Who honestly knows who's going to win this one? I don't really feel like both teams are at some unreal level, and I don't really feel like both teams are really down in the dumps at the minute. So I don't know. I feel like I'm going to predict Splice to win. Okay. I don't know. I've just got obviously probably European bias, probably complete European bias. Yeah. Definitely complete European bias. So I'm going to go Splice. Splice 3-0. 3-0. 250 to 20. You know what? I'm going to go Splice 3-0. All right. Okay then. All right. Okay. Well, I'll just bring this back down to earth a little bit and say AG 3-2. I think it'll be a close game though either way. TK Red. Again, I want to see what happens on day one before I make any concrete predictions. But on paper, I'm putting a lot of stock in Red in this group. I really am. Again, probably you bias, definitely some in there. But at the same time, we've seen them put up some good results. Didn't have an awful Seattle, but obviously the roster's completely changed. I say completely changed. It's one player, but it's a different dynamic for them. And I mean, the vibes coming out of that team is what sort of gives me confidence. I mean, you see them; they're all having a laugh. They're all feeling so happy about it.
again, no disrespect to Josh, but it's just the way that Matty is with the team as well. I'm feeling really good about them, and I genuinely think they might win this group. I know we say a lot about who could win this group. For me, Red Reserve are my slight favourites. But yeah, as I said, take it with a pinch of salt from me and you, because I know we're going to have some bias with being pals with all the guys in from Europe, of course. But I think I'm going to say Red Reserve 3-1 on this one. I'm not basing it. I've got nothing to base. I've literally guts, and I would like to say that I think they look so strong with Scrap so far from what we've seen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go the exact same prediction. Like you said, I feel like Red can win this group. I'd say I would say there's like 1 to 6, maybe 1 to 5 teams that can win the group, but I'd say there's only a couple of teams that I could say, for example, Red, I believe, are a set for the top 3.
Yeah,
like top 3, top 2. Whereas you could, like you said, you could see EG finishing 1st or 6th or 1st or 7th. Like you could see them doing whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Red, they might not win the group. They might not. I feel like I'm gonna have to favour them winning the group, but I feel like they're an absolute certainty to place top 3. So I'm gonna have to go with Red 3-1 here, like you said. So exact same prediction as you.
Okay, cool. Splice Echo Fox, a tough one to call again. And that's the thing. That's the theme of this group, is that every single one of these teams, probably outside of Epsilon, going these matchups are going to be close games, and they're going to be really entertaining to watch. Splice against Echo Fox. I don't know. I'm going to let you make a prediction first, and then I'm going to base mine.
All right. Well, I'm going to sort of change up a little bit and actually, in fact, no. I don't. I just don't want to be so EU biased, but
it's hard not to be.
I was just going to go completely against what I actually think there and predict Echo Fox, but that's just not what the case. I believe that Splice are going to come in. Obviously, I've already predicted the 3-0 Splice against EG, so I can't exactly now go on and predict them to lose to Echo Fox. I feel like that would be sort of weird considering I predict EG to beat Echo Fox.
So you know something about Splice that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah, I've spectated Splice in their scrims against the likes of Optic. I've seen what they can do. I believe on specific maps, if they get the right maps, they can beat anyone in this group.
Okay.
Even Red Reserve. So I believe that I'm going to predict Splice to win. I feel this is going to be a close one. They're going to win this map. They're going to win this series 3-2. I guess they'll go game 5, and Splice are going to pick up the victory.
I'm going to say
definitely go game 5.
Okay, I'm going to say Echo Fox 3-1. I don't know. I just think Echo Fox look good, and I haven't seen anything of Splice, and I know you've seen something of them. So, your opinion has base, mine doesn't have any at all. so my opinion is completely wrong, probably. But I'm gonna level it out again and say Echo Fox for this one.
Fair enough. You're just trying to win the old contest with the best predictions. That's what I see how it is.
No, it's nothing to do. Well, it's everything to do with bias. But because man, honestly, you're gonna be careful with some of these fans of American teams, man. They crucify you. You should have seen Twitch chat when I was watching when I was casting Optic Splice at Birmingham. Oh my god, I got slaughtered. Rightfully so. FaZe Clan against EG. This will be a tough game, I think, for both teams. I don't know.
I'm pretty comfortable with this prediction.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be FaZe's second series and EG's third. EG are going to be looking 1-1 off my prediction, so they're going to be feeling okay. But I feel like EG are going to come in and dismantle FaZe here, so I'm going to predict EG 3-1.
Okay.
3-1 EG.
Okay.
So absolute dominant performance from Adam Assault is going to secure the victory for them on the respawns.
So you put more stock in him than replays, obviously. Is that where you're going with it? Yeah, I think it's been the running theme throughout the year that a lot of people aren't putting much stock in replays. I think he's hit-y-missy. He's one of these players who can be quite inconsistent. When he plays well, he's as good as anybody else, I would say. That's obviously showed from Season 1 playoffs where they won it. And he played very, very well. Well, he didn't play well throughout the whole series, but he still played. When he played well, they won. If he plays well, this could be a victory for FaZe. Yeah, exactly. But it's whether he can play it as well as he can do in every single map. If he does, then this will be a close game. If he doesn't, which I'm not too sure if he will coming into this, I'm gonna go with you and say Evil Geniuses, but I'm not gonna predict this score. I'm just gonna stay with the EG pick. Right, okay, I'm conscious to get this done in the next 11 minutes, so let's move on to Thursday, where there will be 4 games. Look at that game number 3, that's juicy. FaZe Clan against TK first, though. Echo Fox Epsilon after that. Red Reserve against Splice on Thursday night. That's going to be naughty. And then Envious against EG to close out the week. FaZe Clan TK. I'm going to say FaZe. I think accuracy being possibly one of the weaker ARs in the league. And that, I mean, that's not saying anything because it is, as I said, a stacked league and all these teams are very, very close. We've seen what accuracy did at the beginning of the game. But we had Chino next to him, and there was a bit of a role crisis in that one. But this team, TK, does still feel a little bit thrown together. FaZe Clan, I think, will take this one 3-2 or 3-1.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards FaZe as well. I guess TK have. I'm not really going to go too in depth with it, but I just feel like FaZe are going to beat them 3-2 or 3-1.
I think TK could finish bottom 3. I think they could.
Yeah, I ain't feeling too good at the minute, but next week they could be top of their group, and I'll be sitting here looking like an idiot. That's the way it could go. So yeah, I mean, I'm predicting TK to lose all their first couple of games. For the looks of it, yeah.
Turning my brightness up. Go on, continue. I mean, they definitely could. That's the thing. Nobody really knows how this team's going to go. Enable could come in and be very, very good. We know he's got the caliber to be a very good player. This year, though, we haven't seen a great deal of him. In Lightning Pandas, he looked pretty good. I cast a couple of their games and seen the playing, and he looked pretty decent in that squad alongside Royalty, I should pronounce my T, sorry. And
maybe that team needed some more experience in there. Yeah, so possibly. Enable's got that sort of winning, like he's been there, he's won before. Maybe they just needed someone that's been about for a while. To obviously they've got a couple of young guns in there, so. Maybe that sort of levels it out a bit more and they're a bit better. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. Echofox Epsilon, I think, again, we can probably skim this one quite quickly. Echofox, I think, again, looks strong. Epsilon, I haven't seen enough of them playing well, to be honest with 3-0.
you. Yeah, it really could be 3-0 or 3-1. I feel bad for Epsilon because, I mean, I don't want to slaughter them, and I love all the guys on that team.
Yeah, same.
Somebody in the chat said that obviously with the role change, so what is that? Hockey going to be running AR. It could change things up, but they need to change something up. That's the thing. It seems to be working very, very well for them. So, yeah. I mean, we need to see something completely different, realistically.
I feel they might improve. Well. They might improve with Hockey AR, but I'm not sure if it's drastic an improvement enough to get them victories.
So I presume Dead will be flexing, will he?
Yeah, I'd guess so.
And then Brady and Vortex SMG.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty, or it may even be Hockey Flex. I'm not entirely sure.
That would make sense.
Who knows?
Who knows?
No, they've not even been scumming the top UK teams last week before they went. So that's where it's kind of it's really weird. They've actually been scumming against like Heretics a lot.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I didn't scrum them from what I heard. Splice or Red didn't play them, or maybe Red might have, but. I don't really feel like if any of the teams did scrum against them, they didn't really play them like, for example, we played Splice before they went out like every single day. Whereas I feel like they had days where they would sort of they would play against sort of lower caliber players.
Just maybe get some confidence.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, and sometimes you're not always feeling like playing against teams that you know are just generally better than you. You want to maybe get into the groove of actually feeling like you have map control and are able to make kills, because if you're just constantly scrumming and just getting battered constantly, you're just going to be learning how to break out of setups rather than to hold them, I guess.
Like learning how to win rather. You're learning how to avoid defeat rather than learning how to win. Yeah, I get that. I know what you mean. And sometimes it's a fine balance that you have to strike. I mean, one of my favorite things to say is losing is learning within this league, and it can be. But when you get into the habit of losing constantly, it can really be detrimental. Of course, I mean, your negative mindset. The game changes in the way that you have to play it. It's hard for them. It's going to be really hard for them, I think, this season. But I said they're a team with nothing to lose in this. A lot of people, us too as well, expect them to probably lose most of their games, if not all. So realistically, nothing to lose from them. Let's see what happens. But we're comfortably going with Echo Fox. Red Reserve Splice. This is a good matchup. I'm really looking forward to this one because I think everybody will say Red. However, I mean, you've seen Splice a couple of times, and you're looking a bit like, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm going to lean towards Red.
Yeah.
But it's a European matchup against Red and Splice. This one has typically went to Red over the past season, well, over the whole World War II. Splice have beaten them before though, so I don't know. I'm going to say Red.
I would probably predict Red. The main thing for me, I do think Splice are great now, but the main thing for me, this is the only thing that's kind of thrown my head off of, and this is ridiculous to think this way, but Josh, for some reason, is so good against teams that drop him. He's like, or teams he leaves or whatever. He's just like, when he has that fire, it's like you get a different level of B Sport. There's like, in competition anyway, he's always going to be that. He's always going to offer that high level intensity and whatnot, but there's like a new level that he reaches when he's playing against these teams, like the teams like when he was in Epsilon last year playing against Splice, or whenever he's playing against Splice when he was in Red. There's always that new level of intensity and level that he can reach as a player. So that's always something that he's been about for years. So it's always hard to predict him to lose this matchup in my head.
Okay,
but I would just like to premise that with that. But I'm still going to predict Red Reserve to win the series 3-1 if Red Reserve are to play how they at their level. If Red Reserve play at their level in this series, they should win it 3-1. I believe.
I think if Red Reserve play at the level that everyone is sort of thinking that they might be able to, with Scraps coming in, they could win every single one of these games. But obviously at the same time, not everyone plays their best every single series. So let's see if they can bring the form that we know that they can show, that we expect them to show with Scraps in this team, then they're going to be a problem for a lot of people. Yeah. I'm going to lean towards Red again. Moving on for the last game. We've got 4 minutes to go before Hot Mic gets live. MV against EG. I don't know. I'm going to lean towards EG just. I think Chino against Assault is a good game. I think it's a tough one to call. In the end, I'm going to say EG 3-2.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the exact same prediction. Tough call. Envy. They're going to be all right, but I'm going to favour EG in this one. Yeah, I think it's probably going to go game 5, and EG is going to clutch out on S&D just being have a bit more experience in their roster and whatnot. So, yeah, EG 3-2.
Okay. So, I mean, we've predicted a lot of these teams to win and lose games. I think the only ones I'm not predicted to lose are Red Reserve, to be honest with you. I can't remember off the top of my head. But, I mean, what we're saying about this group, and I'm going to bring that up again, is that there's so many... I've just put the table back up again. Then Mark, there's so many teams that could beat each other. The one team for me, as said, I do feel like Red Reserve could take this one. If FaZe Clan turned up in the way that we've seen them in Season 1, they'd play well in Columbus. When they seen Champs and Answer, we're probably absolutely buzzing about that. Then I do think that Red Reserve could beat everyone on this team, on this table. However, the rest of them, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Exactly how I feel. Just who knows, really, man.
That's the thing.
Absolute madness. This group,
I think next week we'll be able to give a lot better predictions and probably a bit more accurate predictions. It's probably a good job that we're not getting you to bet your money on anything this week, because nobody really knows, and we'd get salted because we'll be like, oh yeah, these teams you can follow our predictions, and they all lose. So I think it's probably a good idea we're not doing that this week. But at the same time, that's the beauty of this division. I think it could go either way. It really could. The only sort of thing I am banking on is Epsilon finishing bottom. Other than that, I really don't know. Red Reserve, I go the same as you to say I think they're a shoe-in for top 3, maybe even top 2. I think they'll win it, but I don't think they're going to be outside the top 3. Other than that, I don't actually believe in every single one of these teams to say they're definitely going to be in that top 2 or top 3. Red are the only ones I'm putting stock in there. Yep.
That's exactly like I said. I feel like Red are just the strongest on paper. They've had sort of, I guess, sort of hot and cold results, really. And I feel like right now, and it really comes down to their confidence, I feel like, with that squad. And right now, they're at a new level of confidence that I've never seen them reach before. So if they start off well and get the ball rolling, I really don't see them stopping.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, we'll close it out in a second, but I think it's been a successful first show, minus the cam issue that we had at the start, and the music. I will apologise about that one, because we will get better holding music for next week, because that was uncopyrighted YouTube playlist was terrible. I'm going to get the predictions up together as well. I'll go back through the VOD, which I said will be available on EGL's YouTube, and give it an hour. I'll have to download it and sort it all out, and I'm sure everyone will want to catch up with that tomorrow. But we're gonna end it there. Any closing words from you, Mark?
No, just cheers for obviously coming together with me, and we've obviously got a lot of different ideas and whatnot. So
yeah,
it's going to continue to improve. I'd just like to obviously say that things are right now. A lot of our the first two shows, obviously you weren't on Talking Bollocks, but this and that have been really rushed and sort of. We've just wanted to start it, get the ball rolling, and they're going to continue to improve over the weeks. So, yeah.
I hope so, from my point of view. So, no, I think it went very, very well. But we'll get the prediction tables up as well. Give us your predictions on Twitter also. But Hot Mic is going to be starting in just a second, so we're going to end it there. This video will be available, obviously, on YouTube in about an hour's time for anybody who didn't catch it all, and we'll see you for next week's episode of Iron Sights on Monday. We're actually going to do it on Mondays, not on Tuesdays, but I said we rushed into it a little bit, but we will be live on Monday reviewing all the games that have happened this week and previewing the games that are going to happen next week. So we will see you then. Thanks for joining us for the first episode of Iron Sights, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the games this week. Ta-da.